Welcome and thank you for tuning in. You're listening to the Beyond 50 radio program. I'm Daniel Davis. As you've listened to our program over the years, we've found many ways that you can take that dollar that you save and stretch it. The question is, though, how do we begin saving in the first place? Well, over the decades, many people have turned to things such as coupons. That's right, that little piece of paper you might find in a circular or something that's given to you inside of a cereal box that tells you perhaps you can get a certain percentage off your next purchase. But what you'll find out when it comes to coupon use is that your stereotypes of what people use coupons may be shattered when you're joined with our guest here on the program today, Mary Potter Kenyon. Her book is Coupon Crazy. It's the science of savings and the stories behind America's extreme obsession. Mary, thank you for joining us here on the program today.
Thank you for having me.
Now, this book really surprised me. Typically, when you see a book maybe in this genre, it's somebody sharing with you how to go about taking extreme advantage in many different ways about what it is they're writing about. But you really write a wonderful history as well as what's actually going on and the behavior behind what seems to be the science of couponing. How did you become interested in this?
Well, I always wondered why. I grew up in a family of 10 children, and my parents were pretty poor. So why was I the only one who ended up being an avid and extreme coupon user out of all those other children? So I think there was always that interest, and I knew other people who used coupons, and I kind of was looking at the why behind it, because I knew that I was one of those weirdos who would not only just use coupons at the store, but also save their labels so they could get free items. And my background is in psychology, so I suppose that's where I put it a little bit to use, is why the why behind it. Mm-hmm.
And that why, when it becomes sort of an obsession, as I was reading in your book, I wouldn't have even thought of things such as coupon conventions, really?
Mm-hmm. I know. It was a culture. It was a culture of couponers back in the 70s and 80s when I was really avidly involved in it. And it was, we knew each other, but people didn't know that and marketers didn't even know that we were out there. They didn't really understand the mindset. So it was a kind of a big thing. And then it was the Extreme Couponing show on TV made it a bigger thing. So.
Well, it's funny, when I was reading that, I kept thinking about, well, okay, it's kind of like a coupon Comic-Con. So what is it like when you go to something like that?
Well, I actually never had attended any of the conventions here in Iowa. Some of them were in Las Vegas and bigger places, but to do research for the book, and I'd heard about them, and I always thought, oh, well, that sounds like so much fun, trading coupons and trading labels and that kind of thing, and I did that with women through the mail. But I talked to people who had actually attended some of those conventions in order to do some research for this book. And my eyes were open, too, because there was, in some of those conventions, there was some pretty illegal activities going on. And when people talked about bringing $100 bills and seeing them change hands in the hotel rooms, it was like, oh, my gosh, this is something big, and that's kind of why it stopped, is because there was some illegal activity going on.
Now, let's go ahead. Now, you started off with one assumption that people make by talking about your family history and how your family didn't make a whole lot of money and you started to begin to use coupons. But it's really fascinating to read in here how we have a stereotype of what type of person uses coupons, but what you think is not exactly the truth. Let's talk about that.
Well, I had that happen, too, because I would have people tell me, well, what do you even use coupons for? You're just saving some pennies. It's just pennies. It's not anything
right.
big.
It seems like a lot of work for something like that.
Yeah, it was a lot of work. I would save 3,000 pennies at the grocery store, so, those pennies add up. And I remember one instance in particular and I like to help other people out, so if I'd see them in the grocery store and they're buying something that I had a coupon for and I knew I wasn't going to use, I'd sometimes offer it to them. And I will never forget the time I was checking out and I looked back and the woman behind me had some items that I had coupons for. I knew I wasn't going to use them, and I just went to offer them to her, and I said, here, I've got some coupons for that. You can save $1 on each of those. And, oh, my gosh, she just straightened her shoulders, and she looked so offended, and she says, do I look like I need to use coupons? And I was so embarrassed, and the cashier was embarrassed. But I wish I had said to her then, is, you know what, the average couponer is upper income or middle to upper income and college educated, because that's the facts that I found out in my research. So it's not the lower income that are necessarily the average user. It's actually middle to upper income.
And there's probably a good reason, because they started learning the discipline of actually taking care of their money, and that's one of the ways that you do that.
Mhm. Mhm. And I interviewed one woman who makes $500,000 a year and still uses coupons because it's so much fun.
Now let's talk about, as you did research for the book, the history behind couponing. What's that all about?
Mhm. Well, people kind of think couponing is something kind of new, but the first coupon was actually put out by the Coca-Cola Company in the late 1890s. They put out a coupon for the free new soft drink that they just invented, and that resulted in 8.5 million free drink coupons that were redeemed. And cereal companies were followed suit in that. In 1897, there was a 1-cent grape nuts coupon put out. So it's something that's been happening a long time. You didn't hear about it as much until the Extreme Couponing reality show was on. And then the free premiums. I mean, we all have parents or grandparents who would buy certain soaps just because there's a washcloth in there or a dish or a glass. And Babbitt Soap Company would give out these free lithographs for their soap wrappers. So that's something that's always been around too. And then a lot of us remember the cereal boxes and you could see that there's a prize inside, and that's the one the kids are clamoring at the grocery store for their mom to buy. So the free premiums is nothing new either, but we do not see that much anymore. There was a heyday of that, and I loved it, and I lived it in the 80s as I was raising younger children. I had an entire room devoted to the hobby of not just my couponing, but also the refunding. And that's a word people don't necessarily hear so much anymore. But there's going to be somebody out there in your audience who was one of those people who saved their labels and all these free coffee makers and free T-shirts. And my kids' Christmas was provided by the refund offers that these companies put out.
Yeah, I remember those when I was growing up as a child. You'd end up pouring the whole cereal box out just to get the prize inside. And that also brought up a really unique piece of history that you talk about in here and how that all started. And I remember there was something to do with a train set. I was like, wow, really?
Yes. Well, I say that I started this hobby when I was 10 years old, because in 1969, the Cheerios box had a free offer on the back for a Whammo Super Bowl. And I would sit there. I'm also a reader, so I always had to read while I ate my breakfast. And I'd read the back of the cereal box, and I'd think, what? I could get something free? Not only that, but something in the mail? And so I asked my mom if I could start saving those box tops and those labels, and I ended up sending for, I think, 10 Super Bowls. And then I started rummaging in her cupboards to see what else I could get for free, and this is like in the 69, 70, and I started getting quarters taped to postcards. I mean, can you even imagine that now? I would send in some labels, and there'd be a couple quarters taped to a postcard that would be my name in my mailbox, in my parents' mailbox, or a crisp dollar bill in an envelope. I mean, this to me was like just amazing. I was getting mail and dollar bills and quarters. So when I got married in 1979, I started doing a little bit of couponing and a little bit of refunding and looking at my own labels. And so that was something, I mean, there was just this huge amount of companies that were giving these free premiums and these free items to entice you to buy their stuff.
Yeah, I remember from time to time you'd catch a television program that would talk about people who were couponers, and you would see some of the things, and it grew to like astonishing levels, like, my goodness, really? Just when you think something like that, clipping out something, trying to save, as we said earlier, a few pennies, turns into the kind of things these people were coming up with. It was rather just astonishing, actually.
It was amazing. I mean, I got a free coffee maker, a little Tykes dollhouse. I got T-shirt. I mean, we were walking billboards for these companies, my children and my family, because we had the T-shirts with the Hershey's Company logo on, and we had the Huggies tennis shoes and the hat from Energizer Bunny and the denim jacket from Energizer Bunny. Their stuffed animals were from Del Monte. I mean, it was just.
And this
M&M
wouldn't be stuff
lights.
you would typically be able to find in stores, right?
No,
yeah, this
no,
was really company direct stuff. So
if you still have some of that stuff, and my kids wore out their clothes and wore out their toys, you could actually sell them because they're collector's items now, because they were only available to the people who were saving those labels, and so that's why they would be collector items now.
Now, you bring up the word refunding. Now, couponing and refunding are two different things, aren't they?
Yes, so the coupons was the savings you get at the grocery store, and the savings we still have. And you'll once in a while still see a refund. Procter & Gamble might put out $15 back when you buy $50, or Staples store might have a refund on their paper that month, especially during school time. But you don't hear the word refund so much anymore, because what it was is you would be saving labels and sending them in to get these items, these free items. And people, again, anytime there's money involved or something free involved, somebody takes advantage of it. And there were people that were using 30 fake addresses to get 30 $10 checks, or 30 of this or 30 of that.
Or even altering one last name many different ways
right.
you were writing. I'm like, yeah, but it's funny because when you dangle free, oh boy.
I know.
You know, I'll tell you a funny story about that too, and it's really an interesting phenomenon. And this is a fact. It's really unusual, but it's true. So when I was working in the hospitality industry, I worked for a place that specialized in seafood. Okay, but they were the kind of place that liked to send out by television ad the $7.99 dinner or the $4.99 lunch. But this was really a quality seafood place. I mean, they did everything fresh from scratch, including the onion rings, literally, Like, why are these guys selling out so cheap, But anyway, here's what would happen. So you have those kind of lunches, and maybe it was the location we were in, but I don't think it was just totally that. You would never see more comps for people getting free food as you did in this place. And it wasn't that we were screwing up that much. It was the kind of people I felt they were attracting. Now, that being said, I worked in another restaurant that was more higher-end seafood, and we rarely comped anything there. It was just funny. If people complained, we would just replace the dish, but they still paid for it. And I was like, what's going on here with that? But I know that couponers aren't necessarily that way, as we talked about earlier. You're looking at people who are more affluent, higher educated that tend to be the coupon users. So I think they're more discriminate in how they spend their money. So anyway.
And yet marketers and companies do not quite understand the mindset of that small population or that small percentage who will go to great lengths to get something free, because KFC learned that when they advertised on Oprah's show that they were introducing one of their new chicken sandwiches, and you could get a free meal. And they put it right there on the Oprah show. It was advertised, you click here and you can get, or you go to this address and you get a free coupon. Well, they did not foresee or think ahead to think that these people who love this free stuff are going to print out 30 coupons, 40 coupons, and take their neighbors and their friends and their cousins and their extended family. And there was lines forming outside of the KFC, and they had to stop the people and say, wait a minute, what's going on here? You're supposed to print out one. And, and Sears Company did the same thing when they put out a booklet with a $5 coupon in it, and it was at the post office. Okay, $5 off anything, $5 and up. It did not foresee women and men running to the post office, grabbing 30, 40 booklets, shopping at Sears for day after day for the clearance socks and the clearance underwear and getting free jeans. I knew a woman who got $3,000 worth of free stuff with these $5 coupons. So that's a lot of trips to Sears, and I wouldn't dare have done that. But to think that they didn't understand the mindset of the word free,
right.
That's all so there was a lot of people kind of taken advantage of some of these offers, and I understand why marketers and companies don't do this anymore, because there is that that problem that can happen with somebody sees the word free.
Well, not only that, too, but also the innovative ways they kind of get around the system. For instance, you were talking about in the book about coupons. I think they had to do with refunds, but you had to have a proof of purchase or a receipt, but then they were actually fraudulently printing out receipts that didn't exist.
Unfortunately, that happens. The average person was not doing that, but it didn't take too many people to do that to make it ruin the fun for the rest of us.
Right.
Is that they would actually buy a cash register and make their receipt and actually sell some receipts too. Unfortunately, that did happen, and nobody likes to talk about that.
The dark side of couponing. In fact,
right.
I really found it unusual when I was reading about school and church fundraisers about the coupon redemption rate in one particular area of the United States with a population of something like 2,500 people.
And they and unfortunately that was an Iowa town, my own home state, and they definitely do not want to talk about it or be remembered about it, so I won't say the name of the town.
That's okay. It was just funny that it was a population of 2,500.
Yes. The intention was good, let's raise some money for our Christian school. And then a few families start changing their name and the last name, or changing their address a little bit so that they can get, like I said, $5 checks or $10 checks instead of just the one that each household was entitled to.
Now, as we were talking about earlier, there's a unique psychology behind why people do this and why they're actually committed to this. In fact, you were writing in your book that people will tend to be more committed to store coupons than the actual brand itself. And I thought that was unique, but it also made sense. But even furthermore, for those out there saying, well, you get coupons to help you save money, why doesn't the store just simply give you a reduced price? But there were actually companies like Procter & Gamble and certain cereal companies who actually tried pulling their coupons, as you wrote, and trying to just reduce the prices, and that became very disastrous for them, didn't it?
Yeah, it didn't work. It didn't work because part of the fun of using a coupon is knowing that only you people who are using the coupon are getting that savings. And so there's that incentive to be the smarter shopper, to be the one who gets the savings. And then, of course, too, some stores double coupons, so then some people would get double savings. So, but yeah, it's a kind of a mindset. And we do a little bit of funny math, too, when we're shopping with coupons, because a drugstore might offer a $3 off coupon plus a rebate, and our brain automatically goes to the savings of the rebate, even though we haven't received the rebate yet. So there's a little bit of funny math going on when you say, hey, I saved such and such. Well, you didn't save that $3 back yet until you actually go through and send the rebate in. So it was kind of like a game. It is kind of a game at the grocery store, and we all want to save money, right, at the grocery store, at the discount stores, but the companies want to make money. And so sure, they want to entice you to buy these things, but they don't want you to get it all free.
Right. And there's also a way they lay out the stores you were talking about at the beginning of your book, the psychology behind the store layout. And there was a particular term that was used when somebody goes in with intention, for instance, to go and buy a gallon of milk at the store. Then 25 minutes later, you find them just aimlessly meandering through the aisles with their jaw dropped and wide-eyed, as though they totally forgot why they were there in the first place due to the store layout. And when I was reading that, I found that funny because it reminded me of a Jerry Seinfeld bit when I was watching his stand-up comedy, and he talked about that very thing. But there's actually a psychology done by an Austrian person who came up with that, wasn't there?
Oh, yes. And, of course, you're going to come up with a word that I can't remember.
Yeah, I couldn't either.
The Gruen transfer.
Because I went coupon crazy and forgot a lot of this.
Yes, it's actually called the Gruen transfer, and it's named after yes. And that's what happens to our brain. And the smells and the way the store is laid out, and the eye level, the things at the eye. And if we know these tricks, I don't know if you want to call them tricks, but if we know how that to look down and to look up and not necessarily straight ahead in the stores, or if we prepare ourselves for what's going to be at the checkout. You know, if you've got kids, what's at that checkout? There's the candy. And so if we know that the more expensive salsa is going to be paired with the less expensive chips, so yeah, you're getting a good sale on the chips, but if you think, grab that salsa right there, no, look elsewhere for the salsa, because these are all the tricks of the trade of how they mess with our brain a little bit. And there's stores, and I'm sure you've been in a store where you practically get dizzy because they're making you go around the entire store just to get to what it is you want. And you know, so we can be a smarter consumer if we know about these little tricks.
You know, it's funny that you bring that up too, because when I go into stores, what I really enjoy doing is I enjoy just walking the aisles and looking at prices of things. Mm-hmm. And it really gives you a feel of the nuances, you know, and the ups and downs of certain things. So, you know, because I think one of the big phenomenons that's occurred in the last 20 years, give or take, has been the idea of bulk buying. And that really is deceptive, because here you're buying, you know, I can get as much as I want, a truckload at this price, but you don't realize that if you got it in the smaller this way, that you're actually saving more money that way than, you know, loading and hoarding up on that thing. So you really got to be astute about that. And I wonder, for people who want to decide to get into couponing, if that same kind of, I guess, phenomenon occurs that way as well, like, you know, more coupons is better, and that sort of thing. Because you were even mentioning that apparently there are places on eBay you can go to for free coupons, and that's when you start finding yourself into arenas that might even have counterfeit coupons.
eBay has banned coupon sales, which has happened since my book came out, which is a good thing. There are some places that will clip coupons for you, and you can purchase their clipping service, which is kind of basically the same thing. But
you mean you shut eBay down with your book?
I don't know, but it happens. They're not.
Way to be an advocate.
I could sell my old vintage coupons as like a neat thing for somebody to own. I could do that, because you can't use those. There's no way to scan them or anything, and stores have had to crack down on all that kind of stuff. So, you know, you can still print out coupons on your computer. You can use your phone for coupons. So it's a new world for the coupon user. Now, if you're using your phone, it's usually on one item, unless it's a 20% off coupon off the item, which is Target will do that sometimes, 20% off this brand, and then you have them scan your phone, and so your stores might have some online coupons of their own too. And then
I've been seeing that a lot of times. And I don't even have a cell phone, but they have the digital coupon now, but they'll still let you take advantage of it in some way. But, you know, I'm curious, okay, so now people listening today, okay, coupons, how do I get started? Now, you were talking about downloading coupons, printing them out, things like that on your cell phone, but you were also talking about a time when you and your children would actually go out to places like recycling centers and even the trash, things like that, or you'd have friends and family save things for you. And as I was reading that, I thought to myself, yeah, it's kind of like a fun little treasure hunt, you know, when you realize trash really is treasure. I mean, look at garage sales, for crying out loud.
Oh, it was. Yes, and I actually missed those days. It was my husband and I would go on a date, and we'd stop at the recycling center and see if we could find some coupon inserts. And
little appetizer there, right?
Yeah, and then back in the day when you could get those free T-shirts or something, my kids and I would go to the park just so we could dig in the garbage. I mean, that's the way they grew up, and we'd walk up and down the college town alleys and peel labels off of people's garbage. And now when I think about it, it's like, whoa, you know, my kids had a different kind of life. But it was a treasure hunt. It was fun. And that's what people would get out of that. But
especially when you would save M&M packages for M&M Christmas lights.
Oh, yes. We got the M&M Christmas lights, $50 savings bonds from diaper companies. Why am I not going to walk up and down the alleys to pull up somebody else's proof of purchase that they're throwing out in the garbage to get that $50 savings bond? I mean, there was like some pretty neat offers, and so yeah, sometimes I miss that, but I can still save money, and it becomes a mindset too. It kind of extends into the rest of your life. So if you're trying to save money at the grocery store, you're starting to notice the clearance signs. You're starting to notice the clearance stickers. You'll start to maybe, like I have always gone to thrift stores and Goodwills and that kind of thing for my families. You can find brand new stuff at garage sales and save it for a Christmas present. So it becomes a mindset of looking for the best deals, and it doesn't mean you have to go out and buy the junk food just because there's coupons available for the junk food, because and you look on the boxes and you start to see, oh, hey, there's coupons on the box for fruit if I buy the cereal, or milk if I buy that. So there's still some good deals to be had, and it kind of can extend into the rest of your lifestyle of how you save money in other ways.
I like you brought that up, because it was one where the best phrase I could use on this is stacking deals. And you had one you were talking about that had to do with Kingsford charcoal that turned into a Hormel roast sauce, and even like so much in produce. Now, tell us about that, because there's a lot of times that you'll do different nuances here, and you ended up saving something about close to, what was it, $20 or something off of all that.
That was actually one of the ladies I interviewed had done that. I unfortunately didn't get to get in on that deal, but I had gotten in on some double coupon here in Iowa. I mean, that's kind of rare now, but back then, and these stores went out of business, and I hope I'm not the reason they went out of business. But that double couponing, Tomita was one of them, double $1, and I was getting $200 worth of stuff for less than $20. I mean, so that was fun. The refund offers, like I said, I just provide my kids Christmas with that. But that one you're talking about, where she was not only saving money but getting something back, coupons, that's the way you used to be able to do it. Now I'd say the biggest savings you can get with coupons, where if you don't have a store that doubles, which most of us do not, is to know, if you learn one thing about couponing, that the store coupon, stores have their own coupon, it'll have the store's name on it, doesn't say manufacturer coupon anywhere. You can almost always use your manufacturer coupon, which does say manufacturer coupon on it, and can be used at any store on top of that. So that's kind of like a way that we mere mortals in couponing can actually still save a little extra money, is use that store coupon and your manufacturer coupon on the same product. And then the reason you can do that is because that store coupon is basically a store sale for only the people who click that coupon.
Yeah. And they've also evolved, too, where they have loyalty programs.
Mm-hmm.
How well do you think those work in relation to couponing?
I think that if your store offers any kind of incentive or loyalty program or a special card, get it. And I know you could have a whole purse full of them. Anymore, they ask for your phone number. But, I mean, you could have, because there's always going to be, and they'll ask for your email address, too, usually. Then you're going to get some coupons in your email. Maybe on your birthday you're going to get a coupon for something. I mean, they kind of are tracking you. Yes, it's true. And I don't mind being tracked, because I'm going to get special deals, and they aren't tracking you by name, or it's not like it's a scary thing. Basically, they're finding out, oh, this person always uses a 30% coupon when we send it to her, but this person does not use the 20%. Let's send her more of the 30%, that kind of thing. So I always say yes. Don't sign up for the credit cards. It's a different thing. But if it's a loyalty program or a gas savings when you buy a certain amount of stuff, sign up for it. But don't sign up for those store credit cards, just those loyalty programs, because you will get some extra savings.
Back to the psychology of the person that uses this, I found this funny, too. There was a friend of mine who had retired, but he wanted to find something to do, so he did two things. He went and he worked for a grocery store that also has a gas station. And the big reason he was putting in something like 40 hours a month so that they could pay for his health insurance, which I thought was a great, I'll give some of my time, stay busy, but now they're going to cover this for 40 hours a month.
Yeah.
But as he was pumping gas at the time, and it was funny because I remember this store and that there, where if you join a loyalty program, you save something like 3 cents a gallon at the pump. And everybody would always, he says, you would be surprised how often people say, did you get my 3-cent discount per gallon? Gas is $3.23 a gallon, and you're thinking 3 cents is going to make a difference.
They want their 3 cents.
But they did, and they would be adamant about that. But, it's just, what do you think is behind the thinking there? I just wonder about that sometimes.
And I don't understand why somebody would reach past a box with $1, and I've seen it happen. There's a $1 coupon right attached on the cracker box, and I've seen somebody reach past that display with the $1 coupon for the box that doesn't have it on it. And I don't understand it. If you were walking down the street and you saw $1 laying on the ground, would you step over it?
But that's $1. That makes sense. We're talking 3 cents a gallon.
I won't use a 3-cent coupon. I'm sorry, I won't bother. But I don't see the 3-cent coupons anymore. But I'd like my 3 cents on gas. I'd like to save it if I have it.
I guess over a year that might come out to about a buck or two. Now, as you've done this over the years, and certainly in your book too, you also talk about coupon queens and kings. And in fact, you even said, the queen this day and age might be a king, so we never know. But what have been some of the most, I guess, phenomenal experiences that you've had in couponing, and would something like maybe these experiences be available to people today?
I do know a woman in Pennsylvania where some of her stores still double, and she has a basement full of, what you see on TV and some of those shows. She has a basement full of stuff that she got for pennies or free, and she has her kids come in and shop in her mom's grocery store. I don't get to do that very much. I can do mini shopping sprees, like a coupon will come out for $3 off something I know is $3.20 at the store, and I'll ask my friends and family and anybody, hey, are you going to use that coupon? Because send me your extras, and I'll go to the store a few times and get my little bag of free razors or little bag of whatever it is, and maybe put it in the basket for the kids for Christmas because I've got adult children. So I can do mini trips like that, or if I really, really am intent on getting some free stuff, I can, do a little trading with coupons and that kind of thing. And if I see a clearance aisle of once it was Scott tissue, 25 cents a roll, that's normally $1.69 or whatever a roll, and I didn't just take 5 out of the cart. It was one cart full of toilet paper marked down, my favorite brand. I pushed the whole cart up to the register, and 83 rolls later, the lady laughingly gave me my total. And here's the thing, coupon queens and kings, they take pictures of that stuff because they like to share it. Hey, look what I got for 25 cents a roll, and it's fun and it feels good. So and I don't do that so much anymore because it's just me and my daughter now. But if like I said, if I see 83 rolls of toilet paper marked down 75%, I'm going to pick up the 83 rolls of toilet paper. I'm not just going to get a few, and I'm going to find a place to store them, because then I won't have to buy toilet paper for a while.
Well, here's another thing too, and I noticed this right after St. Patrick's Day when you go to the store and you see corned beef, and boy, do you see a reduction in that. And sometimes I'll buy 3 or 4 briskets, and literally you're paying half of what you would have paid. It's amazing because then you can get the big, large ones, for like $10. And I love corned beef. There's so much, but that's what I mean by perusing. I know when there's a deal, and if I had a coupon, obviously more the better. But here's the other thing too. Since we're on that subject, when we were talking about stores having their own in-store coupons, is what you're seeing a lot more of now, especially in the last 5 years that I've noticed. But it could be a little longer than that, is store brands. Okay, and I'm telling people right now, when it comes to Super Bowl and you want that big bowl of Ruffles wavy potato chips, buy the store brands for 2 reasons. A, they're like 25% of the full price of a Ruffles, so you're paying like $2 a bag for a nice big family bag, then instead of paying $5 or $7. But also the chips are better. They really, the quality. See, for me, when it comes to saving money, the first thing there has to be is value. So it has to have some sort of quality to it. I don't want to buy cheap just for the sake of cheap. And then if I can get a great price on it, and I'm telling you, the store brand, just in chips alone, try them. you're going to pay like 25% of what you would pay for a name brand, and they're usually, and they're always better. They're just of a better quality, I promise.
Yeah, so the one thing I say is don't use a coupon just to use a coupon.
Right.
Because the savings aren't always savings if it's a brand that's real expensive. But if the item's on sale or on clearance and you use the coupon, then you might be getting the name brand for cheaper than the dollar store, cheaper than the off-brand. So, yeah, you got to be smart about it. You don't just use coupons.
Just for the sake of saving money for something you'll never use. Yeah, I got you.
You might not be saving money. And you're not saving money if you buy 10 of something you're never going to use. But you can donate to the food pantry.
There you go. And I know you've done that, too, as well, haven't you? Yeah.
There was the famous Jell-O deal that my husband and I got.
The famous Jell-O deal.
Free.
Well, tell me about that one.
Well, the store offered a certain price on Jell-O, and then I had a coupon on Jell-O, and when I did the math and I figured out the coupon that was coming out of the roaster, pretty soon it was going to all be free. And so my husband and I both went through different aisles. We didn't even like Jell-O, but we donated it to the food pantry. It was around Thanksgiving, so it was a good thing we could donate. Or I got free dishwasher tablets once when I didn't have a dishwasher, so I just gave them away to somebody who did. So I say cut out the coupon if it's a high-value coupon, even if it's not something you use, because there's always places that are looking for donations. And if you're going to end up with something free, go ahead and use the coupon on something you wouldn't use yourself and just donate it.
Not to mention the fact that the more you give, the more you seem to receive.
Right.
It's funny how that phenomenon works. Now, with coupons, obviously we still get the circulars. There's the newspaper with the inserts, things like that. But if you were going to suggest, somebody says, how do I start doing this where it doesn't feel like a lot of work? I mean, obviously we're given a couple of really good suggestions right now by, take a look at prices. And then maybe if there's a coupon for something that you want, then there you go. That's how you start. But a lot of times I think people think there's a lot of work involved. So,
well, it doesn't take but minutes to cut out your Sunday coupons. And surprisingly, even with the Internet and the smartphones and everything, it's still the majority of coupons are in the Sunday paper. So pick up the Sunday paper, check and see if there's things you're going to be purchasing anyway. Watch the ads, combine the coupons with the sale prices. Look on the boxes. You'd be surprised how many little peely coupons are out there. Or sometimes there's a pad of coupons right by the item. And sometimes the store you have to ask for them at the checkout. So definitely read the ads and compare prices. And if you have a store that will price match if you can. Because you don't want to be using all your gas to run from store to store just to try to save a few pennies or a few dollars, because it's not worth the gas. So that's another thing. Also, if you live in a smaller town and you travel to a bigger town, check online, see if there's some good sale. All you have to do is type in Target good deals or Hy-Vee good deals or whatever your stores are that are in the area you're going to head to. And there's places that will do a lot of this work for you, different websites that will say, hey, Target has these wonderful deals, and run right now, because they always say run run and get these good deals. So I will do that. If I'm going to go shopping, I'll just kind of check online and see if there's something I should be looking for, or some good deals that I get to plan ahead for.
And another thing too, because you're talking about online, like for instance, I enjoy Hagar slacks, and actually a lot of their clothes, and so I would suggest, if there's a particular thing that you enjoy, it's really hard to shop for like the right size and the color and and a good deal on time. You spend a lot of time doing that.
Yes.
But when you go through the company direct and get emails, oh my God, the kind of money you save is just impressive.
Yes.
It really is. I mean, especially for something like that.
Yeah. And I'd say too, if you have a favorite brand like that or something, pick up a few pairs, because
in fact, I actually ended up buying 4 pairs of slacks for $109, which comes out to about $26 a pair. I mean, wow. I mean, the time that I saved getting that, the money that I saved on top of that, I knew I was saving money for that particular slack that I was looking for, because the first pair I bought was something in the neighborhood of $35 or $37, and here I was getting them for $26 a pair. So, like I said, sign up for the company emails. They're worth it.
Yes. And
they really
if you like organic food, or if you like
I do that too,
that
thenutfamily.com.
Oh, yeah.
Superfoods, they're
company.
amazingly inexpensive anyway.
Also email the companies of these products and say, hey, I never see coupons. And often they'll send you coupons once a month if you tell them, oh, I love this, but I never see coupons for this. And sometimes really high-value coupons. Or if there's a horrible product that comes out, and it is horrible, they want to know that the consumer does not like this or loves it. And so if you call that 1-800 number or email them, green ketchup. Anybody remember green and purple ketchup? Some company thought that was a wonderful, amazing idea, and I even thought, oh, my kids might like this with their French fries. Yuck. That's what I heard. Yuck. I emailed them. I told them. I said that this might not be a good idea, and they sent me high-value coupons for free bottles of ketchup.
Wow.
So, yeah, it pays to let the companies know, and they'd want to know. They want to know what
the
consumer thinks of their products, whether they love them or hate them.
Right. Well, you're on their radar and you're on theirs, and then you have a relationship, and there's nothing better for brand loyalty and advertising than someone like you running around telling everybody, hey, this is a great company. Boom. They didn't have to pay for that, or they did, but it was a lot less than paying for a television ad, that's for sure.
Yeah.
It's an amazing world to think about all this. I mean, as I was saying, as I was reading through this, there were times I kept thinking of, like, we're going to the San Diego Comic-Con here in July, and, for instance, I go through Hyatt and Hyatt Rewards, and now I've actually earned comped rooms, and I'm actually getting a comped room at the downtown Hyatt within 9 minutes of the convention center right there in the Bay. And so you're seeing a lot of that, especially if there was ever a coupon comp town also, and we were actually watching a documentary on this in Las Vegas. We're showing how you could actually, that they actually have coupons in Las Vegas for gambling and things like that, but it's not for the main strip, it's for the ones just outside of it. And they were showing this, and I was just like, so this stuff is really permeated everywhere. But I think what most importantly, I think, is also a unique phenomenon is you would have to feel that the person who's a couponer, such as yourself, feels that now you're being recognized as an individual and not just a consumer. So I think you actually feel a sense of VIP treatment. And we all want to feel special, and nobody would think about that in this world, would they?
No, and the companies, they have to fight for the consumer's attention now, because remember back in the day when would you get to choose from 10 kinds of cereal?
Right, yeah.
And now there's a whole aisle of it.
Same thing with TV channels.
Exactly, yeah, so it's,
Crazy. Now, because I'm sure this community, especially when you get into the elevated status of, let's say, super couponer, who would be probably the most extreme example of that you know of?
Probably one of the ladies that I interviewed, the one with the basement full of stuff. I mean, anymore, she's so good at this. And she eats by and I did this too. If you are getting spaghetti sauce for 25 cents a jar, you're picking up 10 spaghetti sauces. And your children and your family is eating goulash and spaghetti, and who knows what you're going to make out of that stuff.
Right.
Or peanut butter. Peanut butter was another thing. So you start to shop like that, and you're shopping by what you're getting so inexpensively. You start to maybe eat a little bit differently, and so instead of shopping for the sales, you're eating by the sales. And but there's so much less food coupons out than there used to be. I mean, so that's different. There's certain things that I would never pay full price for because of the coupons and the sales. Toothpaste, toothbrushes, shampoo. I would never buy. I mean,
especially
you can
$4
go
or
to the dollar store,
$7 a shot.
Right.
And then now you're getting these new, I was going to say new wave, new age products, but call them the more organic. There's toothpaste selling out there now for $13 a tube, and it's like half the size just because it's organic.
Yeah.
Crazy stuff out there. So.
And you will notice too that when companies make a new product, that they'll often put a really high value coupon to entice you to at least try it. And their assumption is, okay, you're going to try it, then you're going to pay that $6 a box, which you probably aren't. And so that's when I tell people to keep an eye on, look for these new products and look for these offers for these new products, and go ahead and try it if you can get it. Try it for 25, 50 cents with your coupon. And But some of those you stop seeing them after a year because it didn't go over the $6 box of whatever that you can get a $3 box of. So there's that aspect of looking for these good deals and learning how the companies work, how their mindset works, and they got to learn how.
I also really liked your idea too, is to email the company directly about. Did you say liking the product, or obviously if you did like it, then email them. But that was a really good idea. I would have never thought of that because that's like direct contact with them.
And some people don't think of telling them what you like; they just want to complain.
Right.
The companies love to hear that some product is like amazing, that you think is amazing. They
Whose ego doesn't want to be
like
stroked.
Right.
Right.
And they will send you coupons and thanks of that. Or one time I had the diapers, the little sticky thing didn't work, or a pack of pens where they wouldn't write, and they wanted to see it. They wanted quality control. They asked me to send one diaper, and they sent me a label for that one diaper. They asked me to send the pack of pens, and the pens, it turned out, is because I'd gotten such a good deal. I bought 30 packages, and they dried out by the time I got to the 30th package. The diaper, it was the store maybe storing them in a place that was too hot or something, and so the sticky things weren't working anymore. So they sent me, what did they send me? A coupon for a free package of diapers, a coupon for free pens.
Wow.
So, yes, I do email companies if I like something or if something's, not so good.
And I can say, too, from my experience in the hospitality industry, and this goes out to people out there, who are especially saving money or, trying to find their way to do that, is if you're going to complain, do it nicely.
Yes.
And what you will have, and this is a fact, you will have not only your problem solved, but they will stack extra stuff just because you made them feel good about your complaint.
Yes.
I couldn't stand people that would take stuff and not only make it nasty, but try to make it personal. It's like, we never want to see you again. You're not the kind of people we want here, And I would think that extends over into this arena as well.
It definitely, what happened when all of a sudden couponing was a big thing, and people were seeing on TV that people were getting things free, there were definitely, I was told by cashiers, that there was some obnoxious couponers out there who expected to get everything free, got mad when they didn't, and you know what? It's the store's option to allow you to use coupons. It's not your right.
That's right. That sense of American entitlement.
And so if you get to a point where you're pulling out your coupons and it's not, the register isn't taking it, sadly somebody pulled a gun. That was on the news. Somebody pulled a gun on a Walmart cashier because their coupon wouldn't scan.
Oh, wow.
That's ridiculous. There's these ridiculous stories out here, or people stealing coupons out of the newspaper machines and stuff. It's a right, it's a privilege, not a right. And my cashier said, don't ever carry one of those big binders that you see on TV because those people are so obnoxious, and I don't want you to be one of those people.
Right.
That's what was happening. So, yeah, we have to be nice.
And be grateful because you're getting a discount. Yeah.
Forget about it. It's okay. Just have them take it off your bill if you didn't want it without it.
It's funny you bring that gun thing up. I didn't see something as extreme as that, but it was funny one night. I was at I think it was a Walgreens, and I know places like that, drugstores are great places to find some really cool stuff at really good prices. And I mean good stuff, not just because it's cheap, but because it's pretty cool, actually. But and you say in your book, too, that's an area that companies will actually put things into you wouldn't expect to see, but that's sort of like the new stuff they have. And it kind of as seen on TV anyway. So I was in a Walgreens one night, kind of somewhat late, and this woman walks up with this big, huge package of toilet paper. And she was a big woman, too. I'm about 6'3", and I'd say she was easily my size or bigger. And it looked like she crawled out of bed and went and then decided she had to get toilet paper at 11:30 at night because it literally was like she was wearing her pajamas. And she had the deep, gruff voice on top of it. She puts it down. The guy scans it and tells her what the price is, and she gets livid about that. Well, back there, blah, 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 blah. She just going off on this guy, right? It never occurred to her that maybe she picked up the wrong one from the wrong section. She just seen the price and was going up there and grabbing that.
Yep.
So what does this guy do? He does exactly what I would have done, although in the back of my mind there were other things I could think of I'd like to do. But what he did is he calmly calls up the manager. Manager goes right back there. He grabs the price, and he walks up and literally, for lack of a better, puts it right in her face to let her realize you're running your big mouth and you're wrong. And what was funny about that scene is you could see this big, high and mighty, gorilla-like energy reduced down to nothing because now she felt stupid about herself, which she should. And they were both smiling. I was back there just watching that whole thing, just cracking up, laughing, knowing what was going on. She goes, because of her embarrassment, she was now forced on her own Cree to buy that more expensive package of toilet paper for running her mouth and looking stupid in the first place. Anyway. It's a crazy world.
Yes, it is.
And that's why your book is titled Coupon Crazy, because there are some crazy stories in here.
There sure is.
But at the same time, there's also a level of poetry that I had noticed in here, and especially things such as, in fact, I'd like to read a segment from the area, Romance at Edgerton's Sanitation.
Oh.
Here it goes. Now, this is romance, folks, happening out there in the world of coupons. Our eyes met across the newspaper recycling bin as our hands brushed against each other in our search for the glossy coupon inserts amidst the pile of newspapers. What screams love better than that?
you prep, you make me cry, because that was, my husband was, he had no clue as to how I did this couponing thing. I mean, he just would watch and he just would see the numbers go down in the register, and he just was have no idea how his wife did that. I mean, and he'd fling his arm around me and say he was just so proud of this. And, he was in there digging for the coupon inserts with me. So he was like my biggest supporter. So it was a very hard thing to lose my shopping buddy in 2012. Yeah. And it's hard to care so much about coupons, having lost that.
I understand.
Yeah, that was our romance. That was.
So that was about you then, huh? Okay. Wow. Well, first of all, Mary, I want to thank you for taking the time to be on our program today and sharing. Believe me, folks out there, this is a wonderful book to read. It has great history about it. And, also human motivation, what makes us do the things we do and make the decisions that we make. So there's a lot to this. So the title's very elusive. Is there a website people can find out more about your work or how they can get this book, things like that?
Well, they can find me at www.marypotterkenyon.com.
Right.
And then I have a Facebook page, too.
Well, very good. Well, Mary, thank you so much for being on the program. It's been a lot of fun.
Thank you so much. It was fun to talk about this.
We want to thank you, the listeners out there, for joining us. You can also discover more at beyond50radio.com. That is the number 50. Sign up for our weekly e-newsletter. Keep up to date with what's going on in the world of Beyond 50 as well as our upcoming shows. I'm Daniel Davis. Thank you for joining us. This is the Beyond 50 radio program. And remember, live your day past halfway.